Hey, what's up? My name's Rob Det. Today we're talking about why mental health is really such a big topic of discussion. Now, it's sort of something that you don't really know if it's helping you or if it's something that you're a part of or it's something that you should think about and really take into account so that you can administer your brain so that you're not in this whole mental health sort of area. Now, is mental health really helping you? And this is what I want to talk about. And is it doing you a favor or is it wasting your time? But in reality, we're going to talk about not too many few things, but we're going to talk about the first thing. The first thing is getting into mental health and then mental health. And then the second thing is continuing mental health. And the third thing is finding a way to avoid mental health. And the fourth thing is, do you need mental health at all? Now, getting into mental health is sort of something that you might consider if you're having a bit of a problem with your life or what you're currently going for. Your career, what you want to achieve. Maybe you're married and you want to work some things out. Maybe you're a student and you have a lot of stress. Maybe you're just a regular person and you just want to figure out what mental health is and how it could help you. Now, getting into it doesn't mean that you necessarily have to have a problem. You can volunteer yourself for these services and sign up for these services and have your healthcare system take care of the expenses so that you can administer and find yourself benefiting from mental health in such a beneficial manner or in such a negative manner as if you don't like mental health, of course. Now, if you are in a sort of position where you don't understand what's really going on with mental health and you're always thinking about what mental health should be about, then you should take a big step forward and a big step of discovery to find out what mental health really is. Mental health can be a life-changing thing or it can actually ruin your lives. For me personally, I personally had to deal with mental health, and I didn't really have to deal with mental health. I just had to deal with politics and the changing world. So it didn't really apply to me too much, and I don't really have too much today. But today, I do seek out some mental health services for myself, including any other services that may help me mentally. Like I do get a doctor where they prescribe me some medication, and that's pretty good. But that's pretty cool. This is why I want to talk about it because I think you should also, if you need mental health, you should get into it and really see if you need it. Now, if you need it, then you're probably a person who is wondering why you should need mental health. I mean, if you're watching, there's only one point to figure out why you need mental health is, do you really need it? So getting into it is like, if you have a problem that you want to solve, you have societal problems, you have family problems, you have other problems, these people are professionals and they can help you service them. Otherwise, you could deal with it yourself, but you might need some more money. Now, the mental health services that have money that they're allocating for you, and they have resources and more people that they can talk to and relate to. Maybe they can help break down some issues that you have. For me particularly, they did not help me at all, and I still had to do everything myself, and I'm sort of the one who's giving them information on how to solve problems. That's just me, and I don't really need mental health, but I still go through it because it's a service that can just help me out and expand my horizon. Now, if you want to continue mental health is totally up to you. And I see that you have solutions that the mental health providers have provided you and serviced you with. That's why you think mental health is good enough for you to go on ahead and continue their services. I don't really know why I'm continuing mental health, but I just like the services that there's someone there for me if I have nothing to go on about with my agenda, that there's someone there to help me out. Now, if you want to do anything else, now, if you're one of those people who want to avoid mental health and you're sort of in this whole precarious situation where you have family members or you have close relatives or you have friends and peers who are worried about you and they think that you need some help or something according to a diagnosis that they have discovered or heard about through politics or even superstition or what's going on in the community, well, that's more difficult because you're going to have to be completely independent. Now, I'm sort of in this sort of situation and I'm not completely independent. I sort of have to deal with going to this because they think that I'm sort of insane when they're actually not really accustomed to the sort of experiences that I've been accustomed to. I tried to go on ahead and explain that to them, but they went on ahead and banded together and started voting and said that, hey, you need to go ahead and check out this whole mental health service because you're mentally insane. Either way, at the end of the day, I know I'm a winner, so I don't really have that much of a problem with it. But those are the other things that you should think about. staying away from mental health. Mental health is actually a whole collection of people who have mental problems and mental health services, and they go on together and they tell the mental health service provider that what the experiences that they're having with, and whoever's the professional might have stories that may cater to you, or the stories that might not cater to you, and the whole society is just a back and forth web of networking that you fail to do. Now, I personally didn't do any networking. I'm not too sure as to what my particular habits were when I was in high school, because I was really hanging out with friends most of the time. I didn't really think about networking too much professionally, but I should have probably networked professionally some more, and I would have been more financially successful to be not in a situation where I have to go to mental health because family members and relatives think you're crazy. And that's what I also do. I'm also still the same person even after taking the medication that they force upon you. So it's sort of ridiculous that I have to deal with it. There are also like societal and other groups of people who think that you might be in a sort of manner, but at the end of the day, they end up learning from you because you're just another person in society who's dealing with the same problems that a lot of other people are, but you're just more susceptible to doing more things because you're more active and more smarter. You're part of the 1%, and that's where the 5%. It's why you always have this problem. I mean, if you had a lot more money, you wouldn't be so stressed out and think a lot, but you don't have a lot of money, and that's why you're probably in this situation. That's a third thing. Staying away from mental health. And the last thing is, do you need mental health at all? Mental health is one of those things where you don't need it or you might need it. Even if you do need it, you might not need it at all. But if you don't want it, then you could have it. And that's basically the end of that. I mean, you don't really need mental health, but you want it, or you don't really have to take mental health, but you need it. It doesn't make sense. It's sort of a money situation where you give someone money for a service that they're going to apply, and they're going to help you out, or they're going to try their best to do the best that they could possibly do about a certain situation, and they're not going to be able to figure it out, or they are going to be able to figure it out. It doesn't matter what mental health is, but apparently in the world, a lot of world leaders, mayors, politicians, governors are saying mental health is a big issue, and it's an effectiveness of homelessness. I think that's a whole bunch of yabby jobbies. It's a whole politics and uh, yabby jobbies, and it's not great. I think it's bullshit because you just have to, you get freedom to think about what you want to think about, and you could talk about whatever you want to talk about. You could think about whatever you want to think about, because basically what you're being presented is society, and you have to act a certain way. In this country, it's all about finding the right methods of being subtle in your professionalism to get your own opinions across professionally. It's pretty difficult here in the USA because it's so vast and open, but it's also pretty easy to get into homelessness because of the amount of drugs that's coming out, which is why they talk about mental health. There's also politicians who talk about what mental health is, but they update mental health so much after, what amount complaints that go around and what people complain about to the government about mental health and what policies, quality of life should be going on about. They complain and they get updates, and then they update what mental health is, and then you're either successfully within the system because you believed in a certain quality of life that they already complained about. And I mean people in the United States who complain about society to the governor of our leaders, and they are susceptibly into a nice facade where they're into the whole society because they are now accepted for what they believed in. And you sort of have these sorts of groups of people, but then you also have the far other side of the group of people who are just like, no, I don't want anything to do with this. And they just end up being homeless all the time because they don't follow the regulations of money and what international law is. Anyway, that's my opinion about mental health. If you like this video, give me a like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.